Back, y'all, to Reek Knows Hoops. I'm your host, Tyreek, but it's a little different today. I got a special guest, first guest onto the podcast, my guy Max from Mambas Legacy Podcast. Max, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. It's an honor to be the first guest, and I'm excited to talk Lakers basketball.
Yes, sir, you already know. Go ahead, just tell the people, where they can find your podcast.
I'm mainly on YouTube, Mama's Legacy. I'm My producer Cam does her own show, Rockets Fuel, on Mama's Legacy as Spotify. We started that up every Monday, but we're mainly on YouTube, and you can find me on Twitter at Mama's Legacy Host or Mama's Legacy.
Yes, sir. Help them get to 300 subs, man. They almost there. They've been putting in a lot of work over the summertime. I've been a guest on there a couple times, and I'm gonna be back soon. So look forward to that. But obviously, you're a Lakers fan, so we're here to talk about the Lakers offseason, man. A lot of moves were made. We're gonna start from the top, the one that happened before free agency even started, the Russell Westbrook trade. I think that caught a lot of people off guard. There was rumors about Buddy Hield potentially being the trade piece, but it ended up being Russell Westbrook. So how do you feel about that move? Do you think that was the right move to make? And are you excited or are you a little weary of how Westbrook might fit? Go ahead and speak on that.
I am a little bit weary, but I believe if he plays like he did in Houston before COVID went down, before COVID hit, he was playing off ball amazing. He had the most efficient season of his career. I definitely believe he could do that again if he decides to take a step back, because I think Anthony Davis is obviously going to be our first scoring option. And then LeBron or Westbrook can be number two. It doesn't really matter too much because all three of them are going to get buckets. But the only bad side I see to this is the shooting. I mean, Buddy Hield would have been cool, but I mean, we would have had to give up the pieces we gave up for Russell Westbrook to just get Buddy Hield. So in a way, I'm kind of happy that we chose to get Westbrook. I know that both trade talks were going down at the same time, but I think Westbrook was the deal to pull, and I don't think lights are out yet on getting Buddy Hield over here.
Right. Do you think Anthony Davis will be asked to play a lot more of the five this season since, it would be better to have as much spacing as possible for Russell Westbrook to be at his peak?
I think there'll be lineups where he does play a bit of the five, but I think with the addition of Dwight Howard now, I think we're not so worried if AD still is heavily insistent on playing power forward.
Right. I mean, speaking of, Dwight Howard, he was one of the many free agent acquisitions. I mean, it just kept coming in on my phone notifications of the Lakers signed this guy, the Lakers signed this guy. I mean, it was Dwight Howard, Kent Bazemore the first day, Trevor Ariza. The two signings that caught me off guard was Malik Monk, Kendrick Nunn. You guys also got Carmelo Anthony. How do you feel about the Lakers in free agency? Because I think they made a lot of moves that were pretty interesting, but they might pan out very well.
I think they panned out amazingly. Kendrick Nunn was a big surprise. I did not think he'd be ring chasing this young, but hey, I'm here for it. But Malik Monk, I think, is the most underrated signing that we've made. He's a 40% 3-point shooter, which everybody's saying we need shooters. He's only 23 years old. He still has a lot of potential. I feel like Charlotte should have kept him because they just lost somebody big. Uh, Malik Monk is going to be the most underrated signing here. Kendrick Nunn maybe, but I personally, I don't see how many minutes Kendrick Nunn's going to get to play with Westbrook, who's going to probably be playing the entire game. So hopefully we can get Nunn involved. But I think Monk's going to be that diamond in the rough we got.
I think so too. I think that was the one that really caught me off guard because I thought he was going to go somewhere like a bad team so he can get up like 15 shots a game, show his value, then hit the market next offseason. But I mean, I think he could be like a J.R. Smith type to this team, just come off the bench, shoot the ball, try and get as many buckets as possible. You guys also brought in Wayne Ellington, which I think was a big time signing because that is a legit 40% 3-point shooter. So I think Palinka did his thing with his offseason, man. I'm sure you're excited to see how everything pans out for your team.
I am unbelievably excited. It's been too long. We needed Melo and LeBron together earlier.
Are you worried that this team, because there's a lot of vets in this locker room, like the age on this team is pretty high, aside from THT, Kendrick Nunn, Malik Monk. I mean, the team's pretty old. Are you worried that age might be a factor?
No, I'm not, because the Chicago Bulls average age was actually older than the average age of our starting lineup. So if you want to get technical with it, no, I'm not worried about it. This team obviously is not going to be winning 2, 3 years down the line. It's going to be a completely different look. But for now and even maybe next year, if we can run it back, I think we're going to be championship contenders.
Are there any teams out west that worry you a little bit? Because in my opinion, I don't see any teams out west that really made significant changes. I think maybe the Suns might be the next best team in the West, after this offseason, but nobody else really made too big a move. So does any team worry you at all?
Denver Nuggets.
You think so? Because I don't know if Jamal Murray, I don't know when he's going to be back and how healthy he's going to be. So
I think for sure he'll be back by playoff time. But the Nuggets, they've been getting better every year, and it doesn't look like they make any great additions to the team. But every year it's like, oh, they're a bit higher in the standings. So Jokic just won MVP last year. Jokic has gotten a ton better. Murray, past couple seasons before the injury, he was getting a ton better, and the Nuggets were a legit threat. They have one of the deepest teams I've ever seen. So I'm extremely worried about the Nuggets, but not really anybody else.
really not even the Phoenix Suns who just made the finals. Potentially the Clippers if Kawhi does come back, sometime during the year.
Look, this is going to be a bit biased, but we were up 2-1 before AD went down against the Suns. Everybody thought we had the series in the bag. Everybody did until everybody went down again. So the Suns, I'm not worried about. I think we match up really well against them, and I think with Russell Westbrook, we actually match up even better against them. So the Suns, I think they had their chance to win last year, and they've lost it.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I think that's why a lot of people, myself included, picked the Lakers to win that series, even though they were the seventh seed. Um, I want to go back to Russell Westbrook because he's a player that hasn't had much success since KD left OKC. I mean, he's won one playoff series, I think, in the last 5 years. But I think if there's one player that can really unlock the best out of Russell Westbrook, I think it's LeBron. What do you think about that?
It's definitely going to be LeBron. LeBron, I mean, he can revive careers. I mean, look what he did with Dwight. Dwight was nearly out of the league. He came for a non-guaranteed contract, and look at him. He got a contract from Philadelphia. He's back with us. He's not out of the league. He's a solid veteran that's going around teams. LeBron is going to bring the best out of Westbrook. I think he's the one player that could sit down and tell Westbrook, hey, you're not going to be the first option. This offense is going to change too much. You're going to have to take a back seat and learn to play off ball. And I think that's going to really improve the Lakers' chances if Russell Westbrook does accept that role. But I think the season comes down to if Russ will put being Russ behind him for a season.
Right. And are there any players that you guys maybe lost this offseason that you think might be a little more difficult to replace? Like, I think KCP was kind of a big loss, in my opinion. I think outside of him, I think Kuzma's replaceable. Drummond, I think you guys did a good job.
No, we
But
threw a parade when he
guys
left.
that you guys lost that you think might be a little difficult to replace?
So with the loss of KCP, I think Monk's just a younger version of him. I don't think his defense is as good as KCP's, which is extremely underrated. Nobody wants to talk about that. But I'm not worried. We got Monk back. We got Wayne Ellington. We got some. I think they're better, more consistent, better shooters than KCP. KCP will drop you 31 night, then 5 the next night, and KCP's confidence is a bit shaky. But the biggest loss, which I am really hurt about, and it's not just for the memes. Alex Caruso was extremely underrated on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, you saw him last year in the finals. He stopped a fast break with Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. I forgot who the third one was. He stopped that by himself, fast break. That guy is a hustle player. He's like a little less dirty version of Patrick Beverley, in my opinion. He's always hustling. He doesn't worry about points, doesn't worry about game time. He just wants to be out there and do his thing. And we're really going to miss that unless Kendrick Nunn can perform as our new Alex Caruso.
Yeah, I totally forgot Caruso did go to Chicago. He got a nice payday, but hopefully, for you guys, Kendrick Nunn, probably a different version because, Kendrick Nunn, Malik Monk, those guys are going to come off the ball and the only thing on their mind is going to be scoring the basketball. But that might be good for, I think, the Lakers because y'all have liked that. Even when you guys won the championship, your bench didn't really have a lot of firepower off of it. So I think adding those guys and then being young, young players as well, I think THT takes a step forward this season as well. And I think you guys are in a pretty good shape to get back to at least the NBA Finals and potentially win a championship.
Well, the Lakers, the reason we won is because of our defense. Defense wins championships, and the Lakers, without LeBron and AD, we still had the number one ranked defense in the NBA, and Andre Drummond was on that team. Keep in mind, so I love the extra scoring, and I think even Frank Vogel can upgrade their defense a ton. Frank Vogel's done it time and time again. Defense is his specialty. Now that we got some young guys who already know how to score, Vogel's not going to, I mean, he'll make your offense a bit better, but that's not where he excels. These guys, they have their offense. If Vogel can add some defense to their game, we're a lock for at least the NBA Finals, like you said. But honestly, I believe the Nets should be shivering right now.
Why do you say that?
The Nets didn't really get much better. I mean, what did they really do? I mean, they kept Blake Griffin. I will say Bruce Brown was an amazing keep on their part. If they lost him, I would have been really worried for them because he's their one guy on the team that knows how to play defense. But the Nets really haven't gotten better. They lost Jeff Green, and people are going to say it's not a big deal, but Jeff Green's actually they're going to miss him once they start playing without him. He could come on whenever the team was having a dry spell. He'd come nail a three. I mean, Jeff Green is just extremely underrated, and I think he's going to be. I think the Nets fans are going to be upset now that they don't have him.
Yeah, I agree 100% because Jeff Green played a lot of small ball five for them, and he was a big piece of that team. You could tell they were a much worse defensive team when he was out of the lineup early in the postseason. So I think the Nets are just banking on their guys being healthy. I think that's what they're banking on because I mean, it's hypothetical still, but I know they believe if they were healthy last season, they would have made the NBA Finals at least. So I think that's what they're banking on. But I do agree they did not really make any significant moves, and they did lose Jeff Green, which is a big piece to what they had going. So we'll see how that affects them this season. But I'm sure most fans want to see the Lakers Nets finals next year. So hopefully we get that for the viewing experience.
I mean, the ex-teammate rivalry would be hilarious. LeBron going at Kyrie, Westbrook going at KD. I am all for it. I mean, even Westbrook going back at Harden. I think Nets, if they don't win this year, I think they failed. The Lakers, in my opinion, I don't think we've won. We've won our championship. We got LeBron, we got the ring. I'm not too worried about us. Granted, I'd still be quite upset if we can't pull it off with Westbrook on the team. And I also believe if Westbrook does not win with us, he's never going to win a ring in his career. Same goes for Harden. If the Nets don't win this year, it's over.
Yeah, there's a lot banking on this season for a lot of superstar guys. So we're gonna see how it pans out. I appreciate you coming on to the pod, man. It's been a long time coming, a great conversation. Y'all make sure y'all tune into the Mambas Legacy podcast. Make sure you subscribe to your YouTube channel because they're doing a lot of great things. Like I promise y'all, you will not be disappointed. Max, if you got anything else to say, go ahead, man.
Again, thanks for having me on the podcast. Love being a guest over here. Love working with you. One of my favorite people to work with in the NBA community. And I can't wait to have you on my podcast soon.
All right, for sure, man. Take care.
Once again, thank you to Max for stopping by the channel, giving his thoughts on his LA Lakers offseason. I hope you guys enjoyed this type of video. Let me know if you want to see me bring more people onto the channel to talk hoops because I enjoy just having conversations with other people, getting other people's input in things instead of just me talking all the time. So let me know if you guys enjoyed that. And, hopefully I can get more people as guests, maybe some players someday, who knows. But thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new. And thank you once again, and I'm out.